Have you ever woken up and realized joy doesn't feel like joy anymore? You're not sad, but you're not full either. You laugh, but something in you knows it's not real. You smile, but it feels thin. And that empty feeling? It isn't random at all. In Scripture, emptiness is often a signal, a quiet warning that something deeper is shifting inside your spirit. Joy doesn't normally disappear all at once. It doesn't burst in suddenly, and it doesn't vanish suddenly either. It leaks, slowly, quietly, silently. It starts small. The worship songs that used to break you open now feel like background noise. The things that once stirred your soul barely move you. Your heart feels tired, but you can't explain why. And the scary part? Most people don't notice anything is wrong, because numbness doesn't shout. It whispers. Even David, the man who once danced before God with unashamed passion, eventually said these words, "Restore to me the joy of your salvation." Psalm 51:12. He didn't ask for more blessings. He didn't ask for a miracle. He didn't even ask for strength. He asked for joy, because he knew something many believers overlook. Joy is the first thing to fade when your heart drifts from God. Not your morals, not your routine, not your belief in Him. Your joy. And David understood why. His heart wasn't where it used to be. This is how spiritual emptiness works. Your life might look stable, put together, even blessed, yet your spirit feels hollow. Because joy drains long before your life ever shows cracks. So let's talk about it. 3 biblical reasons your joy is quietly fading. 1. Your spirit is full, but not with God. Joy isn't emotional. Joy is spiritual. And when your spirit is filled with distraction, noise, entertainment, and constant stimulation, joy gets suffocated. You're scrolling, you're consuming, you're reacting, but you're not resting. You're not reconnecting. You're not refilling. Jesus said in Matthew 6:22-23, "The eye is the lamp of the body. If your eyes are healthy, your whole body will be full of light. But if your eyes are unhealthy, your whole body will be full of darkness." What you take in either fuels joy or drains it. You don't lose joy because your life is empty. You lose joy because your spirit is full of things that cannot produce joy. 2. You've been fighting battles without spiritual strength. Life feels heavier than it should, not because everything is going wrong, but because you're running on spiritual fumes. Nehemiah 8:10 says, "The joy of the Lord is your strength." So when joy fades, strength fades. And when strength fades, even simple things feel overwhelming. That's why nothing excites you anymore. Why everything feels like effort. Why your spirit feels tired even when your body is rested. You're trying to carry life in your own power. But joy can only be sustained when you're connected to His. If you feel your heart drifting, just write, "I'm coming back." Joy always follows a returning heart. 3. God is trying to get your attention. Sometimes joy leaves not because life is broken, but because your heart is drifting. God doesn't yell first. He whispers. And one of God's loudest whispers is the absence of joy. In Revelation 2:4, God says, "You have abandoned the love you had at first." Not faith, not belief, love. And when love cools, joy collapses. Sometimes the emptiness you feel isn't punishment, it's invitation. It's God saying, "Come back." You're drifting farther than you realize. How God restores joy. The good news is this: God never lets joy fade without providing a pathway back. Joy isn't something you chase. Joy is something He restores. And Scripture shows exactly how He does it. 1. God restores joy when you return to honesty. Most people don't realize this, but joy cannot survive in a heart that hides. The more you bury, avoid, or suppress, the more joy slowly slips through your fingers. This is why the enemy loves secrecy, because what is hidden grows heavier, darker, and more draining over time. David understood this better than anyone. In Psalm 32, 3-4, he describes what happened when he kept everything inside. When I kept silent, my bones wasted away. My strength was sapped as in the heat of summer. Listen to that. His bones felt weak. His strength evaporated. He wasn't losing joy because life was hard. He was losing joy because his heart was closed. This is how spiritual suffocation works. When you're pretending to be okay, when you're acting strong because you don't want others to worry, when you're smiling while your soul is carrying unspoken battles, your spirit silently begins to starve. Joy demands space. Joy requires openness. Joy needs honesty. The moment David stopped hiding, everything shifted. Psalm 32:5 says, "Then I acknowledged my sin, and you forgave the guilt of my sin." But the power isn't only in forgiveness, it's in release. Joy rushed back in because his heart finally had room for it. Honesty does not make you weak. Honesty does not make you exposed. Honesty makes you free. It breaks the dam. It opens the door. It lets God heal what silence has been suffocating. Sometimes the most spiritual thing you can do is simply say, "God, I'm not okay, and I don't want to pretend anymore." Joy can flow in a heart like that because God restores whatever you stop hiding. 2. God restores joy when you return to His presence. There's a reason your spirit feels tired, heavy, or numb, even when nothing is technically wrong. The truth is simple. Your heart was created to function in God's presence the way lungs were created to function in oxygen. Anything outside of that atmosphere feels suffocating. You can distract yourself, entertain yourself, stay busy, stay surrounded by people, but your spirit knows the difference between noise and presence. Psalm 16:11 doesn't say joy comes from blessings or success or emotional moments. It says, "In your presence is fullness of joy." Not halfway joy, not temporary joy. Fullness, overflowing, stabilizing, healing joy. And fullness is something the world cannot offer. When you drift from God's presence, you can survive for a while, but you cannot thrive. Your joy will thin out. Your strength will weaken. Your peace will feel fragile. Because joy is not a feeling. Joy is a byproduct of connection. Think about the moments when God felt closest to you. Think about the peace you had, the clarity you had, the stability you had. That wasn't coincidence. That was presence. And presence is always accessible. It's not found in a perfect environment.